Hey everyone, welcome back. In this Postman tutorial, we are going to learn about the basics of API and what exactly is an API. So API stands for Application Programming Interface. Now this might look a bit of jargon to you, but let's focus on the word interface. Now interface, if we just search the English meaning of interface, it's basically the communication point, right? So basically the interfacing between one thing to the other. If we talk about the computing, it is from the client to server, how the client is going to communicate or interact with the server. There needs to be some sort of an interface, right? If we talk about phones, right? When you charge your phones, how do you charge it? There is an interface. So if you are using an iPhone or Android, there are different charging interfaces that are available to plug into your phone, and then your phone gets connected to the charger and charging happens, right? So what is the interface between the phone and the charger? It's that connecting device. So when we say interface, it's something that connects two things together. And similar is the application programming interface or interface in API when we say client server. Okay. So when we say application programming interface, what exactly this does? So if we say you are visiting any of the websites, say for example, you are visiting a website wherein you are searching for hotels. Okay. So say for example, you are searching you are visiting a hotel's website and you have put the location there. Okay. And then your check-in date, check-out date. Okay. So check-in, check-out, and then you are basically click on the search, right? So this is your client, your graphical user interface. Then do you think all of the logic that is there for a particular application lies on this whole client when you open the browser, right? And then everything is just on that particular computer? It doesn't happen like that, right? Because it's not a standalone application that serves the request for a particular user, because there might be thousands of users who are searching for hotel room in a particular hotel or city, right? So if there are thousands of users, there need to be a particular centralized server wherein all that hotel information or the room information for that particular hotel is. Okay. I'm taking just one hotel at the time. Okay. So say for example, this is particular city, right? And there is a hotel H1. Now they have their own database wherein they maintain all of the inventory. Say for example, how many rooms are there, how many booked and how many are not booked, right? So if I'm visiting their website, right, I'm putting the location and then the check-in and check-out date and then searching. So basically what this does is, this is basically you can either use a Chrome or Firefox or any of the browser to fetch that particular web page, which is the client, which is graphical user interface. And then this request goes to the server, okay, wherein this inventory is maintained. So it could be a database there. So it could be any database, right? It could be DB2, it could be MySQL, right? It could be Microsoft SQL, where all of this inventory information is stored. And then there will be a programming logic basically to do all of that calculation, pricing, everything, right? So this request, whatever you have entered into the UI or graphical user interface, check-in, check-out dates, and the location gets sent to the server, and based on the availability, say for example, there were 100 rooms, okay, in the inventory, and then out of those 100, 95 have already been booked, 5 are available. So that 5 availability will be shown, right? Now because 5 availability is shown, so this person will be able to, so once this request gets here, it will show that yes, there are 5 rooms available, and then that information will get passed back to the client and will be shown to the user on the graphical user interface. Now how all this happens, this communication, okay? So this, as I have told, that this is not a standalone application. It just doesn't lie on your computer. So there will be a server, centralized server, wherein all the hotel room information, inventory information will be maintained. And then this communication happens through the APIs, okay, or application programming interface. Now APIs, basically, if we talk about in very layman terms, this information that you see here will be translated into something which can be transported, which can be easily transported over the network, over the internet to the server. And some of those technologies are XML and JSON, right? So the information that you put on the UI gets translated into the XML or JSON file and then transferred through the network and hit the server, and then server does the logic, basically the programming, whatever logic is there. If the availability is there, then similar response, basically available or not available, is returned to the client and displayed on the network, on the UI, graphical user interface, or on the client. Okay, so this is the brief of what exactly an API function is, or what an API is. Now if we talk about application programming interface, it's an interface between the client and the server, right? So that's what the API is. Now another example, okay, another example is, say for example, you go to a hotel, very common example. Okay, so you are in the restaurant, and there is a kitchen, and then there is all of the dishes that get prepared in the kitchen, right? So when you go to the restaurant, do you go directly to the kitchen and say, I want to eat this? Right, it doesn't happen like that. So there is an interface, which is basically waiter will come down to you, right? And then waiter will present a menu. Basically, this is what we all serve. What would you like to have? Okay, so you place the order, and then waiter takes that order. Okay, and then waiter goes to the kitchen and then brings your dish back to you, right? So waiter is an interface between you in a restaurant sitting there and the kitchen to get the order to you, right? So waiter is kind of an interface or programming interface between you and the kitchen, right? So this is the real example. And you imagine, say for example, everyone started going to the kitchen and ordering everything, right? So it will be a lot of chaos and mess, right? It can happen, but it's a lot of chaos and mess, because if there is an interface in between, then the waiter or the restaurant know that this is what we all will be able to provide you, right? You have to follow, you have to order something within this particular menu. You can't just come here and we order anything in the kitchen, right? So this is what the interface is. Now another example is, everyone would have gone through basically booking your flights through different websites. For example, yatra.com, makemytrip.com, right? Or skyscanner.com. So when you go to the skyscanner.com, all right, so let me refresh this. Okay, so now say for example, I am on the makemytrip.com, all right, or Skyscanner. Okay, now Skyscanner, I'm trying to search for all the flights from Melbourne to New Delhi. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put the depart from, right? So depart from, then going to location, then if it is a return, right? So I have to select return if it is a return journey, or one way, right? So I'll say select one way, and then the date, right? So I'll put the date when I'm looking for, and then simply search. Now if you'll do this on Skyscanner, what happens? The result page of the Skyscanner basically shows you all the different results from different airlines, right? So what happens in the background? So what this Skyscanner and Make My Trip and Yatra.com, they are all aggregators. Basically, they will fetch the details of flights from different providers or different airlines and serve it to you on a common place in one single portal. That's what these websites are doing. And how are they doing it? Now, they are not maintaining a specific server for each of these airlines, right? So say for example, if in the Skyscanner, they might get a request to Qantas, right? Air India, and then Thai, Singapore. So different airlines, right? Now, do you think these airlines are providing their server or the direct access to the server information to these websites, Skyscanner or Make My Trip, right? No, because of first thing that they can't provide that because of the security reasons, right? They can't disclose their server and all of that information inventory to them. So what usually happens is when you put the depart from, going to, date, etc., then this website basically sends the request to the specific, all of the website or all of the carriers, and then each of these carrier will send the response with the relevant detail of basically whether the seats are available, how many seats are available, what is the price for these particular airlines. And these airlines are not allowing, or they are not sharing their whole database with these aggregators. They are just exposing the APIs which these aggregators are calling, right? So Qantas might be exposing the API, say for example REST API, which will take the inputs as a depart from, going to, and then if you provide the date, then I'll return, this Qantas server will return the available flights and the price. And that's what they are basically fetching and then displaying here, right? So they'll fetch and display in the next page that this is the Qantas flight, these are the prices. Similarly, the Air India, right, they'll return and then Air India flights will be displayed along with the price. Similarly, the request goes to Thai, and then in the next page, in the results page of the flight, the Thai price will be displayed. So this is what happens. All of these airlines have exposed or made the APIs available for public so that you can just hit those APIs with the relevant details that are required to search the flights, and then they are just basically sending the response, and these aggregators are displaying that on the portal or the flight search page that you see after searching the flight, right? Now all of these APIs are secured as well, right? So you can't directly go ahead and just access APIs. So these Skyscanner, Make My Trip, there is a specific auth code that is required, security tokens that are required. So basically these airlines verify that yes, this is actual request coming from Skyscanner or Make My Trip, and if there is a booking that has been made from say Skyscanner, then they update there. So if the booking confirmation has been received from Skyscanner, then these Qantas will maintain that this booking has been made by Skyscanner. They'll update their inventory. So in the real time, it will be available to every aggregator that is looking for this particular airline. So it's not just a Skyscanner. There is another website that will be doing a similar sort of work with the APIs for the customers, right? Yatra, Make My Trip. Okay, there are hundreds of travel websites that use these APIs to fetch the results and display on the flight search page. Similar is for the hotel. Similar is for the weather app that you see, right? So do you think that iPhone maintains all of that weather information for all the cities? No, they take all of that information through the weather APIs that are available, right, from someone. That is maintained, and weather app just fetches the information based on the specific city and displays on your screen. So this is a brief about the API. I've tried to simplify it as much as I can with the real example, so I hope it would have been clear. But in case you need more clarification or you're not clear about it, please do comment and I'll try to make it more simple. So that's all for this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Thank you very much for watching.